we're going to do a bit of this. Highlight a new definition. What does substitution mean when we're talking about mathematics? When you have a variable, sometimes they say, hey, let's make that variable a number. So what does it look like? It says, if you have 3x plus 5, can you tell me what it's equal to when x is equal to negative 3? And so what substitution means is then you substitute where the x is, you put a negative 3. And then it switches into a grade 6, grade 7 adding, subtracting question. What is 3 times negative 3? Negative 9. And then negative 9 plus 5, order of operations, you would get negative 4. So when we substitute it in, we put it in inside brackets because it was originally 3 times x, so you need to show that now it's 3 times negative 3. Okay? So here's another example. If you had x squared minus 4x plus 9, and you wanted to evaluate it when x is equal to negative 2, you would substitute a negative 2 wherever there were x's. So the first x there is squared, so I write negative 2 in brackets and squared. Then I have minus 4x, so where the second x is, I put brackets and write negative 2. And now it's just order of operations. Are you okay that negative 2 squared is positive 4? Are you okay that negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8? And then we would just have 4 plus 8 plus 9, add them together, and you would get 21. So you get the idea that wherever there was x's in this one, you're going to substitute a negative 1 and you put it in brackets. This one also has a y, and it tells us that y is equal to negative 5. So wherever there was a y, we substitute in a negative 5. Once it's substituted in, then you're back to regular just what's negative 1 times negative 1? Positive 1. Positive 1 times 2, 2. Negative 5 times negative 5, positive 25. Add them together, and you get 27. Okay, you have on page 32 at the top, 3 to try. Once you have your answer, check with someone else who has their answer. Got them already? Show me your work. Good, and then evaluate it. Looking good. Show me the part where you substituted in. I'll come back. Oh, that looks like fun.
So I was showing this to Chuck, starting to do that line again in that science prep room. So he figures maybe one should go to Brittany and let her see that the thing is still starting to do that again.
Oh, the lines on the back? Not that big, but yeah. All right, what did you get? What was the answer you got for the first one? Got 7? Did anybody else get 7? 7? So what we do here, we go 3, we put in the 3, minus sign, we put in a negative 2. Okay? 3 times 3? 9. What do you do with the minus and minus 2? This is the tricky part. Change it into a plus. So then, it will be 11. So that, oh man, that's erasing. Be very tricky with the negative signs, okay? Because it's very easy to just think, oh, I'll subtract 2, and I see 2 negatives, I just make a longer negative. No.
Always remember to bracket when you substitute.
Yeah, if you remember those brackets when you substitute, it works out fine. Same thing here. Have to remember the brackets when you substitute. Because it's very tempting to write negative 2 squared as negative 4. But what is negative 2 squared? Positive 4. 19 for the second one. And for the last one, you'd have 3 plus negative 2 minus 3. So plus a negative is the same as subtracting. 3 minus 2 would be 1. 1 minus 3, negative 2. Did anybody add this differently? Everybody went from left to right like I just did? Okay. Does anybody do 3 minus 3 first? That'd be 0. And then what are you left with? Just the minus 2. Oh, that's kind of fancy. Fancy like. Oh, Mr. Shirk doesn't know the Fancy Like song? Fancy Like Winnipeg? Oh, I have to show. Okay. We'll do one more and then, you don't know the Fancy Like Winnipeg song?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
The,
they use it at like the Jets games.
yeah. It's just, there's an actual song, but they changed the words to make it a Winnipeg one. Mm-hmm. He did a pretty good job on that song, I thought.
Yeah.
So, it says sometimes it's easier to simplify before substituting. Sometimes it's easier to substitute first. So, if you substituted first, you'd put in 1 everywhere. The math isn't too bad, and you could simplify it. Okay? You could substitute first. Or you could simplify. How would I simplify this one? Well, I'd have to distribute. And some of you might say, well, this already looks complicated, Mr. JR. I distribute the negative 2, I distribute the 3, I look for my like terms. And I can put it together to be minus x squared minus 22x plus 18. These are my black ones combined, my red ones combined, my green ones combined. If you simplify first, then when you plug in 1, okay, wherever their x was, you plug in the 1. This one's important to do this because notice here it's a negative x squared. Is this negative sign getting squared? No. Only the x is getting squared. So when I do my order of operations, I do exponents before multiplying. This will be 1 squared, and then times a negative 1 is negative 1. Minus 22 plus 18. Minus 23 plus 18. We get minus 5 in the end. That's a very squeaky eraser right now.